You're listening to episode number 122 of the Transform Your Life from the Inside Out podcast. This episode is titled Five Random Thoughts to Change Your Life. Now, once you listen to the episode, I will tell you why I named the episode that and why I'm doing it that way in this episode. So, if you want five random thoughts to change your life, then keep listening. Hi, I'm Jim Fortin, and you're about to start transforming your life from the inside out with this podcast. I'm widely considered the leader in subconscious transformation, and I've coached super achievers all around the world for over 25 years. Here, you're going to find no rah-rah motivation and no hype, because this podcast is a combination of brain science, transformational psychology, and ancient wisdom all rolled into one to take your life to levels you've never thought possible. If you're wanting a lot more in life, to feel better, to heal, to have peace of mind, to feel powerful and alive, and to bring more abundance and prosperity into your life, then this podcast is for you because you're going to start learning how to master your mind and evolve your consciousness. And when you do that, anything you want then becomes possible for you. I'm glad you're here. So, five random thoughts to change your life. Before I do an episode, quite literally, some days I will have some ideas, some weeks, several days ahead of time. Hey, this is what I want to talk about on the next episode. Sometimes it'll be day of, sometimes an hour before I record, I'm thinking, okay, what is it that I want to talk about in this episode? And candidly, I just let myself be driven by what I call divine inspiration, meaning whatever comes to me is, what I want to talk about in that moment. A couple of days ago, and I haven't done this episode yet, but a couple of days ago, it was late, well, early in the morning, 2 a.m., and I go to bed quite late or early, however you choose to define it. And there was this really, really gale wind outside. I mean, really like this amazing wind. And across the street, one of my neighbors, a big, big tree in the front yard, and it was just whipping the tree around. And I was watching the tree just dance with the wind. And I'm like, okay, there is a podcast episode right there. So basically, I just observe the world. I observe myself, all my years working with a shaman, and I see what comes to me. Now, today's episode is a couple of days ago. I do have a business group. People generally start in what's called the Transformational Coaching Program. And then those that want, I don't do it anymore for the most part, but for 20 years, I've taught subconscious persuasion and influence. And I teach people how to use subconscious influence in their sales, marketing, and advertising. And right now, I'm teaching the final course, the last one I'll ever teach. It's all being recorded so that people can learn from it later. But a couple of days ago, somebody asked me to look at a sales page, and I hopped in and I just randomly shot a video of it. And I said, basically, here's a random, video, guys. I just want to give you my feedback for everyone in the group. And there's probably, I think, 200 people in the group. And a student from Russia, he commented and he said, you know what? He goes, your random comments have so much, there's so much power in your random comments. And I thought about that, and random comments are really easy for me to do. I mean, if somebody wants me to look at their sales page, someone in coaching with me, or they're wanting me to look at something, boom, I can just look at it and start putting things together subconsciously. So when I was thinking about this week's episode, I'm like, what do I want to do? And I've already actually have another episode on the back burner that I was going to do tonight for you guys, and I thought, well, why don't you just try that out just for fun? Why don't you do five random thoughts to change your life? So I want to share with you, and I've mentioned them to some degree in some way in the podcast before, but I want to share with you what I believe are five foundational thoughts. Now, what I want to point out also is I keep the episodes relatively short. And the reason that I do it is I could sit here and I could blabber away for 2 hours like some people do on their podcast episodes. And the reality is brain based, you're not going to remember it. The thing is this is once I'm talking about like what I'm talking about right now, you're already forgetting about what I was talking about 45 seconds ago. And then what I was talking about 45 seconds ago, When I was talking about that, you forgot what I was talking about a minute ago. Why? Because the brain, the conscious mind, can't hold on to the information. So, that being said, sometimes bite sized information and shorter podcast I think would be very helpful. So, I may play with that format. I don't know. We shall see. The thoughts that I'm going to share with you in this episode would definitely be in my top 10. If you ask me for my top three, I will give you two of those, and they are not in this week's episode. And I talk about them a lot. But my top two would be, which I'll mention a little later, is you are where your attention is. I mean, if somebody said, Jim, you know what? If you could only, break it down to two or three things that you've learned over the years that are life changing once somebody masters that thought, what would they be? Number one is you are where your attention is. And the other, we'll keep it to two right now. The other one is that, you know what? Fear is the idleness of will. Now, recently, probably 4, 5, 6 episodes ago, I did one on using your will and using your intention. And I know that should I be getting into fear about anything, I know it's because I'm not using my will and my intention to create the reality that I want. So I just wanted to share those really quickly, but the five random thoughts. Let's share this one. Well, let's go here first. The first one is this is I remember well the thought is this. I am who I learned to be. I am who I learned to be. And you know what? So are you. I remember this story out of college. My best friend in college, and we're still friends today. We went out, we were still in college, but we came to Dallas and we were staying at his parents' home and we went out partying and we went out drinking and we didn't drive. We caught a cab home or somebody dropped us off, but I do remember we didn't drive. But it's like 2:30, 3 o'clock in the morning, and we're in his parents making something to eat like 2:30 in the morning. And he reaches over into the cupboard and he pulls out the butter and it's the butter dish and it has the lid on it and it's glass and all that. And I said to him, I said, I remember this very just it's very like this was 30 years ago, 30 something years ago, and I still remember it very clearly. I said, "Why is your butter in the cupboard?" And he goes, "What do you mean?" And he looked at me like I was crazy. And I said, "Why is your butter in the cupboard?" And he goes, "That's where we keep our butter." Yet in my house where I grew up, we kept the butter in the refrigerator. Now, as I said, we're still friends today. Since 1983, we've been friends. So what is that? That's 37 years or something. I don't know. It's a long time. Yeah, like 37 years. And recently I was at his house. He lives in Dallas. Um, and I was at his house and I opened the cupboard and guess what was in the cupboard? Yep, you guessed, butter. And if you come to my house, where do I keep the butter? I still keep it in the refrigerator. What I'm sharing here in this story is that I learned to keep the butter where I have it. Just like wherever you keep your butter, maybe you don't even eat butter, I don't know. But wherever you learn to put butter in your house is something that you learned. But yet when you were learning it, you didn't know that you were learning it. You simply learned it through observation. Just like Chris learned through observation, I learned through observation, and it's something that we carry with us into our mid 50s. So, what I want to point out and what I want you to fully grasp and understand is I don't care where you were raised on the seven continents. I don't care what country you were raised in or what socioeconomics, so to speak, for the purpose of my story here. What I want you to understand is that you learned when it comes to your 3D you, meaning John or Susie or whatever your gender is, and I call it the bag of skin or the body you walk around in, you learned to be who you are based upon your socialization growing up. Now, here's the kicker is, and this is the bigger point here, is that you're not who you think that you are. You're simply who you learn to be. Your life is literally your interpretations about who you learn to be and how you learn to be. So the example that I just gave you about the butter, how would you be different if you were born into a very, very wealthy family? And let's reverse that. Let's say you were born into a very, very wealthy family. How would your life be different if you're born into a very poor family? How would your life be different if you were born into a family that taught you instead of illness? And instead of parents saying things like, oh, I have a heart condition and your grandfather had it and his father had it and you're going to have it too. What if, because by the way, being sick is a choice and that applies to me as well. What if you actually grew up in a family where you learned that you can self heal, right? How would your life be different? One of my closest and dearest friends, her name is Virginia Cook. Now, she's 80 years old. She quite literally is a Dallas business icon. She's no longer in business, but she owned the second largest private real estate company in Texas, and she built that in 10 years. And for 30 years prior to that, or actually 40 years prior to that, she was a president of a very large company. And she's literally, when I say literally, she's literally an icon in Dallas business. I mean, she's known as a mover and shaker in Dallas. Everybody that's a mover and shaker knows who she is. The mayor, U.S. senators, et cetera, blah, blah. One of my best friends and another friend of mine who taught me NLP, neuro linguistic programming, and she was my coach. She said to me one day, she goes, can you imagine how your life would have been differently had you not grown up with parents who taught you about poverty and taught you about limitation? How would your life be different if you grew up and Virginia was your mother? How would your life be different today? So that's a huge question. So I ask you that question is how would your life be different if you grew up with parents who taught you something completely different than what you learned? Now, that being said, what I want you to, fully wrap your mind around here is that everything that you think you are, and in particular the things that are counterproductive, are nothing more than a learned illusion. Consider that. All the limitations that keep you trapped and keep you away from money and health and relationships and all the things that you 3D, meaning third dimension, body, human ego, all the things that you aspire to, the things that keep you from them, or the thing that keeps you from them, is the illusion of what you've learned as a small child. Now, I know I've said this in many ways here, but I just say it in a different way and what in this episode, and when I say things in different ways, because I know it applies to me as well, sometimes I'll hear something and I'm like, okay, yep, I get it. And then later someone else says it in a different way, or the person says it in a different way, and I'm like, boom, okay, I got it. All right, so that is your first little snippet in this episode is that I am, and you too, I am who I learned to be. Next is this. I love this, and this is very comforting to me. Is there is nothing in my life without my agreement. And that applies to you as well. Okay, so, and I'm going to be doing one in a couple of months. It's called the Be to Have series. There's no charge for that. And it's probably going to be, as it's always been, 3 live trainings on ways that we can be in the world so that we can do the things that we want to do so that we can have the things that we want to have in life. And on the last Be to Have series, or the one before that, I think it was the last one though, back in March of 2020, I mentioned this comment, there's nothing in my life without my agreement. And this lady wrote an email to my support desk and they sent it to me. And she says, you know what? My daughter has cancer. And I disagree with your statement because guess what? I don't agree that I want that in my life. I don't agree that I have that in my life by agreement. Now, what she was completely missing is that I'm looking at everything from a much higher perspective in life. And I know that we function not just in 3D, meaning the physical body, but we're also luminous beings. We're what I call Lumo sapiens. Instead of human, Homo sapiens, we're Lumo sapiens. We're light beings. We're beings of light. We're beings of energy. And I look at it that anything that I have in my life right now, it happens. Now, this has all been set up before I came to the planet, but it happens for my highest good, my greatest spiritual learning, and my greatest evolution. So, where I work from is that everything that happens to me, no matter whether I'm like, wow, that's amazing, or oh my gosh, that really sucked, and I don't like that. Where I work from is that everything in my life is a lesson so that I may grow. And I agreed to it at some level of consciousness for it to be in my life. Why? So that I can learn the higher lessons so that I may grow and I may evolve. Because one of the only reasons we're on the planet anyway is to grow and evolve. I mean, why else are you here other than to grow and evolve? Are you here to work for Shell Oil for 40 years and you retire and you get a gold watch or whatever company or whatever in the 3D world? No, that's not why you're here, to get a job and to slave away and work away and complain about your life and buy a house and have kids and then kick the bucket. That's not why you're here. And most people don't even recognize that, but you're here to grow and evolve. So where I work from, and it's very comforting to me, is that whatever comes into my life, the way that I look at it is, okay, what is this here to teach me? Do I love the lesson? And I'm just laughing here, but no, I don't like this lesson, and it's quite painful, and it hurts, and I just don't like it. It can hurt physically. I don't like the lesson, but the reality is where I work from is that I agreed. I agreed at some level of my consciousness for this to come into my life. So, the first thing that I share with you this week is I am who I learned to be. The second is there's nothing in my life without my agreement, and everything that happens to me happens for my highest good and my highest learning. And then that leads me into my next point, which is really simple. My next point is, and I'm going to tell you, this here has given me a great deal of peace of mind. I learned this. If you've been with me for any amount of time, you know my brother-in-law is my mentor. He is a shaman. And obviously, him being a real shaman, he learned from a shaman as well in Mexico. He started apprenticing, which I've said many times, when he was 6. And I know people have said, well, why does Jim keep mentioning that his brother-in-law is a shaman? Trust me, I don't like being the parrot having to mention it, but some people are new. But his mentor said to me probably 20 years ago, and this has been, I tell you, this has given me probably more peace of mind than anything else. And this is exactly what he said. Everything always has been, is now, and will always be fine. Now, you ponder that. Everything always has been, is now, and will always be fine. And then we can sit there and go, no, no, that's not true. This is not fine in my life. It's not fine that I have a particular air quote disease. It's not fair that I have this. Everything is not fine that I lost my job. Everything is not fine that I have an alienated child on drugs. Everything is not fine because of XYZ. Well, the reality is when you look at life from a much higher perspective, which I've talked about before, living in balance, living from the higher to the lower and the lower to the higher, meaning living from 3D up into 5D and from 5D down into 3D and beyond that. And when I say D, I mean dimensions, again, for the third time. But the reality is, I've never been sick in my life. I'm 55 years old until this year. I had heart failure earlier in the year. As I'd mentioned multiple times, the doctors don't know what caused it. I'm moving really fast through this because it's not really relevant. But here's the thing. When I was in the hospital, and I've never been in the hospital in my life. I've never had so much as a prescription in 20 years until this not incidents, but incident dent back in February. And I spent 3 days in the hospital. And when I was there, I really wish that you could, have this brain scan to see that I'm telling you the truth. That when I was in the hospital, in the emergency room, they're like, "You're in heart failure," and they admitted me. And most people will freak out like, "Oh my God." I didn't even freak out then. But see, what am I going to do? What's freaking out going to do about anything? And I was completely calm. And I actually thanked the doctor because he was a really good ER doctor. And they checked me in and they said, "You know what? You're going to be out of here tomorrow." Well, it wasn't tomorrow. I was out of there 3 days later and they poked me and prodded me around all these tests, blah, blah, blah. But the whole time I was in the hospital, quite literally, I never went into even 1% fear. My main cardiologist, which by the way, they told me I was going to be on medication my entire lifetime, blood pressure, all that kind of stuff. Well, as it is now, that was in February. This is July. with my brother-in-law, the shaman, his guidance, I'm almost off all my meds. I've cut them down to 1/8 of what they were in terms of dosage. My blood pressure's back to normal. My health is back as if nothing had happened for the most part. But yet, look what the doctor said. You're going to be on your lifetime is going to be around heart failure. Well, that's a bunch of nonsense, and I let that go a long time ago. So, but anyway, while I'm in the hospital, I'm literally every single day. One of the cardiologists, like my main one, is like, he goes, I give you a really good chance. I give you like a 70% chance of full recovery. And there was another cardiologist, and she was very like a Debbie Downer. She's like, oh, you could not regain your heart function. It could be a very tough life for you, blah, 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 blah. And the reality is that, you know what? Where I went to in my mind is everything's just fine right now. Is it where I want it to be? No. But you know what? Everything is just fine because I'm having the opportunity. Why? Because I've invited this into my life at some level. Everything is just fine as it is right now. And I even work from, and I know you've listened to the podcast for a while, most likely, and I did an episode on this. Even if I left the planet, it's just fine. Why? Because when I'm off the planet, I'm going to be in a much better place anyway than this very limited 3D reality. Secondly, I have no choice to leave the planet because we're all going to leave at some point. So how is that not going to be fine? But where I worked from the entire time, where most people will be sitting there going, worry, 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 worry. Next paragraph, worry, 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 worry. Next paragraph, worry, worry. I wasn't there. I was simply at peace the whole time other than the energy, which I can feel energy is extremely toxic in the heart unit at this particular hospital. I mean, the energy was just like it was so thick you could cut it with a knife, and that for me was challenging to manage. But otherwise, mentally, you know what? I already knew that I had agreed to it at some point in my life that this was going to happen. And to be fully transparent, my brother-in-law shared with me. He goes, and I believe it. It makes sense. He goes, the reason this happened is because you needed to transform your life spiritually even after all the years you've worked with me. You have to transform even more and at deeper levels and go through what's called a really, which I've had on many times, called a shamanic death, meaning part of the ego dies. And this had to happen to you. And you hit, metaphorically, you hit a wall and it's forcing you to change things in your life. So I look at it as a blessing, whereas a lot of people would look at it as, you know what, that sucks. I can't believe, blah, blah, blah. My life is blah. And it wasn't fun after I got out of the hospital for a little while. And it took me longer because I'd never been sick than I thought to recover. But like as of today, I didn't even or wouldn't even know that I was even in the hospital 3 months ago. So, okay. So, third bit of wisdom here is everything always has been, is now, and will always be fine. And when you live your life from a higher spiritual perspective, knowing that everything that's happening in this life is of your choosing and it's here so you can learn and you can grow, you then fully recognize that everything always has been, is now, and will always be fine. The next point is a bit akin to this, but the next point is, and this is really big and very profound when you dig into it. What I give myself to owns me. What I give myself to owns me. And so many people give their life to their greed or their anger or their self pity or whatever it might be. They give themselves to their negative emotion, and then their negative emotion owns them. It's, that old proverb, the parable, the Native American parable of this Native American elder talking to his grandson about the two wolves. And he talked about the battle that we all have inside of us. And you have two wolves inside of you that are battling. One is metaphorically good and one is metaphorically bad. And the grandson says, grandfather, which one wins? Which wolf wins? And the grandfather said, the one that you feed. The one that you feed. Now, be honest with yourself because you've often heard me say that people get into self deception. But I want you to look at the conditions, meaning the external conditions of your life. Whatever the external conditions are of your life, whether you deem them to be positive or negative, are there because or they stay, they linger. Let me put it that way. They might be there because of agreement, but they linger and stay, and especially negative consequences of life and conditions. Why? Because based upon what we're talking about is you feed them. What you feed stays in your life. So then okay, you look at social media and how much do you feed it, which is just mental. I mean, it's toxic waste. And the news is toxic waste. And I don't think in my lifetime, and I stopped reading the newspaper. When I was in college, I read the New York Times cover to cover every single day, for the most part. International news, that is, international relations, which was my forte when I was getting one of my degrees in political science. And many years ago, I swore off reading the news. In this day and age, if you scan it, I don't think I've ever seen news this toxic in my lifetime with the elections and what the U.S. president and the toxicity that comes out of Washington and coronavirus and all this stuff. It's just pure it's toxicity. So then you have to ask yourself, what are you nourishing and what are you giving yourself to? So the question is look at the conditions of your life. And whatever the lingering conditions are of your life is what you give yourself to mentally and emotionally. All right, let me segue here for just a moment. Episode number 9 here at the podcast cast is all about law of attraction. Um, do you know that we live in a country where 78% of Americans live paycheck to paycheck? And I'm going to be doing a money training on August the 11th. And the reason I'm telling you before I finish the podcast is so you hear this is the training is going to be called How the Law of Attraction Repels the Money and Abundance You Want and How to Become Rich. I'm an expert at this. And the reason I'm an expert at this is because I grew up poor, very working class. And today I am financially extremely comfortable. And I'm that way because of many things. But you know what? And I probably have said this before. 20 years ago, 25 years ago, I walked in. I had a roommate. I was single. Brad and I were roommates, and I used to buy. I mean, I'd go to Barnes and Noble back then, or Borders, wherever I'd shop. And this was before we had online anything. And I remember walking in one day, and I had probably 10 books in my hand. And Brad said to me, he goes, "Isn't?" And he was kidding, but he goes, "Isn't your brain full already?" Meaning, I used to be a voluminous and voracious reader, and in my lifetime, I have literally read over 5,000 books, quite literally. And the reality is, a lot of those books were about every angle and every aspect of money, how to make money and how to be wealthy and how to be financially comfortable. And being completely transparent with you is I probably have read 1,000 books on every angle about wealth. Everything from a Warren Buffett angle to a financial investing angle to a law of attraction angle to every angle out there. And I've recognized one fundamental truth based upon my years of experience, what's made me wealthy and what I do for a living. One thing, one very simple sentence. Are you ready? Is that money is mental. Because, see, you can read a Warren Buffett book or a Bill Gates book on wealth, but if you're not mentally in the place to be able to absorb the content into your context, which is self image and identity, then the content is of no value. Or you can read day trading or financial investing or Forex or investing in the financial metals or Ohm and Abraham Hicks or the law of manifestation and all the laws and all these kind of things. But the reality is this when I look at what got me to where I am, I recognized there were 6 pillars that you're not going to hear anywhere else. And I know that. I don't say that for marketing hyperbole. I know it because I literally am pretty much because I was almost homeless after college one time. Out of college, I was living on a fraternity brother's couch. I literally went from rags to riches. And the 6 areas that I'm going to cover, and there'll be a little more on this later, is shifting your money locus of control. Most of you have your locus of control relative to money in the wrong place. Next is your wealth versus poverty identity. And I'm not going to go into these right now. Your next one is your subconscious habits, your brain-based reptilian brain habits. Next is your prosperity consciousness. Just because you actually serve the world doesn't mean you're going to make any money. Next is separating money from work. Most of you have your money tied to your work, and that is a fail point. And then finally, self autonomy, meaning, well, never mind, doesn't matter what it means, but those are the 6 things I'm going to cover on that training on August the 11th. So mark your calendar, plan to attend. I make no further comments about it right now, but the training is not free. I'm going to charge for it. It's going to be a nominal amount. Plain and simple, the reason why is because people do not appreciate what they do not pay for, and I want this training to be stellar, out of the park. Aha, I get it. Now I have steps and I know how to transform my life around money. Anyway, that's it. Mark your calendar, August the 11th. All right. Number 5 thing, as I said, 5 ideas, 5 thoughts that can change your life is this. Are you ready? Number 5 is this. My life is my teacher. Now, the reason that I say that is most people are oblivious to that. Most people are looking for things outside of themselves to be the teacher. I used to do the very same thing. The way that I look at it now is it's not things outside of myself that is the teacher. My life is my teacher. Where I find myself in my life is a teacher and a reflection of my thinking. So, if I want to learn more about life, then what I have to do is not learn more about external things in life. I have to learn from the current condition and circumstances of my life. When I look at the current circumstances and conditions of my life, that is a 100% reflection of who I am. Now, this is my teacher. So, for example, I could look at heart failure, which I had back in February. And the way that I look at it is okay, so that happened as if I'm taking a meta position, which means a third party position. Okay, so that happened in my life. What can that teach me about multiple aspects of my life? What can that teach me about health and wellness and healing? And not just understanding health and wellness and healing, but also knowing. What can it teach me about further learning and mastering the art of surrender? What can it teach me further about mastering the art of patience? So, what I want to share with you is that your life is your teacher. I remember one time I was talking to a Harvard, who is a professor at Harvard, anthropologist, and I told him because we were talking about it. My brother-in-law is a shaman, and he literally kind of like choked on his wine a little bit, and we chatted for a bit because there aren't really any real shamans for the most part in the U.S. You'd have to go to the Amazon or Africa or Haiti or Siberia or the depths of China or Uluru, which is where the Aboriginals are in Australia. But as far as finding a shaman, if they even let you find them, you don't find them in everyday suburbia. They don't exist. They don't live that way. And this Harvard professor and I were talking, and he said to me, he said, "So your brother-in-law teaches you things about shamanism." This was 1998. So I'm just thinking back to the year. And I said, "Yeah." And later I thought about it, and I thought to myself, like, he doesn't teach me anything. I teach myself based upon what I choose to avail myself to, open up to, and what I choose to learn and to absorb myself. So your life is your greatest teacher. And if you want to learn the most about your life, look at the circumstances of your life and look where you are, because that is where your teacher is, your greatest teacher. Okay, so your transformational takeaways are very, very simple. I am who I learned to be, number one. Number two, there is nothing in my life without my agreement. Number three is what I give myself to owns me. Number four, and let me reverse the order here because I was just thinking about these out loud, is everything always has been, is now, and will always be fine. And then the final one, obviously, is my life is my teacher. All right. And I know it's so easy to listen to these and like, yep, I get it, get it. Okay. I'm going to go get busy with something else now in my life, but print these out, write them down, print them out, put them up somewhere on a 3x5 card, and ponder them. What you could even do, one of the earlier episodes, is you could even ask your subconscious mind to help you absorb one of these at a time, and you could before dream time. Thomas Edison used to say, I never go to bed without giving a command to my subconscious mind. Maybe you could take one of these if you wish and give a command to your subconscious mind and say, hey, sub, which is what I call it, in dream time, help me discover more about myself through everything's a blessing, or how to unlearn what I've learned about myself, which was the first one, or show me more areas of my life that I give myself to in ways that I don't even recognize that I do. Anyway, food for thought. And remember, August the 11th, mark your calendar. The money training I just covered, how the law of attraction repels the money and abundance you want, and how to become rich. And I also want to point out here also one final thing. I think becoming rich for the purpose of becoming rich is really of no value. To have money just so you can say you have money or defines you is of no value. One of the greatest things that you can do is become rich, and that's a very spiritual thing because the more money that you have when you use it as a tool, not as a definition of yourself, the more money that you have, the greater impact for the most part that you can make in the world. So, and I see people, and guys, I read comments left and right about the podcast and people saying this here and there and etc. And somebody could be listening and saying, why is he talking about money? Blah, 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 rich, rich, rich. And I guarantee you, 9 times out of 10, it's somebody scratching their broke ass that's saying that. And I say that very candidly to you guys. Why? Because they don't even see what they're saying. They don't even recognize that, you know what? To be rich is noble when you use it as a tool to serve more of humanity and to serve humanity for evolvement and growth and the betterment of us all. Okay. That that's not a episode. That wraps up this episode number 122, and I'll catch you over on the next episode. Thanks for listening, and I'll catch you later. Bye bye. Thank you for listening to this entire podcast. If you're the kind of person who likes to help others, then share this with your friends and family. If you found value, they will too. So please share via your social media channels. Also, if you have questions, I'm here to assist. You can email me questions to support@jimfortin.com, and I may even use your question for a future podcast episode. Also, if you want transformational content like this daily, connect with me on Instagram. My Instagram name is I am Jim Fortin. Finally, I do have a personal request. I believe that we're all here to help others and to grow and evolve ourselves. Together, you and I, let's help more people. If you would please leave a review on iTunes, and a good one by the way. I'd be grateful, and through your assistance together, we can transform more lives. Thanks for listening.